Welcome back, everybody. It's game three. Grab your popcorns, take a seat, because we're in for quite a ride here. Anarchy versus Bluebird, 1-for-1 already. This is going to be the deciding match here as we are into picks and bans. How are you feeling today, Joshi?
I'm excited for this last game. Both these guys have beaten their opponents incredibly quickly in just over 20 minutes, and both times it's been the blue team that has taken it. Now that Anarchy is back on the blue side, I think they should have what it takes to bring it home. They're going with the same bans thus far as the Yorick is banned away, as we've seen from previous games. If this tells true, it should be followed up by the Leona, and there it is. This is looking pretty similar to what we've seen in the past, but Bluebird still banning away the Ari, likely going to be banning away a lot of Nuna fans' composition champion pool, trying to put him back on that Diana.
Yeah, it seems to be the name of the game here. Not expecting any of these bands to switch up too much. Maybe the occasional mix up there to keep things original to the sense. As we are going to slowly see some bans slowly trickle in. We see the LeBlanc, obviously target ban to Nunes fan. So we see the Urgot ban going through. So Anarchy comes to their senses, realizes, wait, this champion's broken. We should probably
Uh,
ban it.
Yeah, he is. Urgot's such a strong champion, even up against something that is nominally a counterpick like the Lysandra, still able to force his way through. It's important to remember that there are basically no champions that are in the meta that beat Urgot in lane. The big thing that you're trying to do is just go even with him, and champions like Lysandra and Sion are able to pull that off. But with Alistar taken off the table, Braum rockets in priority. They're going to be picking that up first, and we'll have to see a different support with both games has been Alistar blue side, Braum red side, but now with Braum blue side, what is Blueberry going to be bringing out to counter this right here? Looks like they're going to be picking up their AD carry first off, grabbing the Kaisa. It's looked pretty good on Dalzanor last game, but it still has a weak early game that they'll need to be able to turn around.
Yeah, picking up the Kaisa. Dalznar did all right on Kaisa. It wasn't phenomenal, but I
You got
think
a quadra kill at the very end.
that's just at that point of the game when you have a very fed Urga and a Lysandra who's owned for it. It's all right.
It looks pretty good. This Talia also looked pretty good earlier on with Avalon. He was able to get a lot of fights in the style that he liked, moving around, forcing her opponents to run away because she gets the movement speed whenever she's near terrain, as well as getting the unworked ground to make sure she always has as many rocks to pick up and throw as she wants to. But with the Alistar banned away, this means that Nuna fans going to be able to pick up that Irelia for himself. I'm excited to see what he's able to bring. It has a lot of good matchups, but it also has a lot of things that it can get really bullied by early on. We'll have to see how they pair it with other things. Like Gragas going to be coming out right now for D tier, who is still actually Athena in the jungle potentially. Right as I say that, we have to remember that the first time these guys played this, it did go over to the bully up in the top lane, and he had such a dominating performance up against the Trundle that was played by Shanghai. It's possible we'll see a repeat performance, but the VAR is already banned away or looking to be banned away by Bluebird. I have to imagine it is going to be echoed by a Lucian ban. Try and put Viper Fang on something he's not as familiar with and something that doesn't interact nearly as powerfully with Bang Bus on the Braum.
Yeah, most definitely there. I think Aurelia and the Gragas composition works really well against Talia, especially from Arcam. I think if you're able to land the Aurelia ult Talia, it really limits her space for the worked ground. And then Gragas just kind of keeps them all together within the Aurelia ultimate. So I think there's a little bit of a complementary synergy between both these champions for Anarchy's draft.
And they're going to be banning away the Zac. Clearly, Bluebird does not believe that Athena is going to be playing this Gragas. They think it's still going over to the Bully. Potentially a wasted ban. We'll see if it ends up affecting how they draft around this pick. We see that Anarchy has the opportunity to ban something away. It is going to be the Trundle. And that's interesting to me as well, partly because Gragas, as we saw earlier, did very well up against Shanghai in the top lane. And it's not necessarily something that they're likely to pick on the side of Bluebird. They already have their jungler picked out with the Talia, who can go mid lane, but now that Orianna's picked, it has to be going into the jungle.
Yeah, already Oriana to Aurelia. I think it's a decent matchup for Irelia. I don't see much. Oriana can always shockwave herself, keep herself safe away from the Irelia. That's really the only case there. Other than that, I think it's quite a standard lane for Irelia.
The big thing to keep in mind is that Irelia is spiking while Oriana is at her weakest point of the game. As Irelia finishes her Trinity Force and Oriana somewhere between level 6 and level 11, not having enough AP to make her abilities do a whole lot of damage, relying on the base damages, while Irelia is seriously popping off as she gets all of the items she's looking for. But that Jinx and Mundo getting picked up for Anarchy, looking pretty different. We know where the Gragas is going almost definitely. I suppose the Gragas can still go into the top lane, and Athena could potentially be playing the Mundo, but that would be pretty surprising to me. So we'll have to see how they choose to react to it. It is going to be the Alawi up in the top lane for Shanghai. Another counter pick. He's going to have a lot of freedom to play as he feels up in the top lane, having a lot of ways to interact with the Mundo, getting some grievous wounds early, finding the Executioner's calling. It's going to seriously limit anything that the bully is able to do.
Yeah, Lalu pickup's really nice here, especially with both these teams really focused on team fighting and really elongated fights here where they last for a long periods amount of time. So I think the Alawi ultimate coped in when they're all grouped up works a lot well for this Alawi, and I think it's something that Shanghai is able to pull off for himself.
The big thing that I'm going to be paying attention to is how they're going to be interacting the two players in the top half of the map, the jungler Talia and the top laner Illaoi. If they're looking for team fights, Shanghai wants the team fight to stay in one spot for as long as possible, get the tentacles down, and then be able to blow people up because they can't leave. Whereas Talia, on the other hand, wants to be moving around as much as possible, make sure that they always have the unworked ground available to them. So this dichotomy of how these two champions want to interact is going to be very interesting to watch. Of course, there's also a possibility that Shanghai going top lane is just never going to leave. He's just going to push the bully in under his turret over and over and over again. And overall, that could be just as effective.
As we are loading on to the Rift, Game 3 is going to commence right away, folks. As we see them fan out of the Rift, guns ablazing. This is Game 3 match point for both these teams here in this best of 3 series.
We see that Wild not actually buying items, still sitting in base. Perhaps he's going out for that quick bathroom break as we haven't had a pause just quite yet. They're going to be fanning out. Now, this is an opportunity, if only their opponents had known that Wild wasn't there, that they could go very aggressive with the Braum, the level 1 with the concussive blows passive, able to find stuns on almost anybody he wants, and providing that little bit of extra damage. As it is, though, Wild will be getting onto the map just in time to make sure that at least they have even numbers going into the fight. But Wild going forward as well. Neither of these teams looking to do anything different than what they've done in the past. The bottom lanes helping out their junglers at the bottom half of the buff and potentially jockeying for the early priority in the bottom lane to make sure that their jungler is able to get the first Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, first Scuttle Crab seems to dictate a lot these games recently. I think whoever had Scuttle Crab control the most tend to just kind of win it out for their teams here. I think the Gragas jungle to Talia is alright. I think Talia just clears a lot more faster than the Gragas here, so something to look out for during this match.
It will really tell us a lot about how these two junglers are going to interact based on how this early couple of levels go, where they choose to pick up their early farm. And Nunafan jumping onto Teko, the level 1 aggression coming out. He does still have the corrupting potion, so he'll be able to trade back that damage very effectively. Oh, a level 1 E start coming out from Shanghai. The bully actually not engaging with that the way you are supposed to, but at this point it doesn't do any damage whatsoever on that Alawi, so he's just fine. He doesn't mind that whatsoever. The only thing he's sad about is that a mana potion coming out for Shanghai on that Alawi means he's going to be able to throw out those abilities willy-nilly with so much mana sustain. But as it is, D tier getting the bot lane Scuttle Crab in a level 2 fight.
Yeah, Rakan gets a knock up on Viper Fang. Vanquish Driver gets the stun off while looking for some poke, and they're able to kind of win out that trade in favor. Wild just gets chunked out, but Viper Fang has to be very careful here.
They are going to need to be very careful. They still have all their summoners available with a couple of extra potions being blown through on the side of Bluebird here on the, on Anarchy here on the bottom side of the map. It is going to be slightly in favor of Wild and Dalzanor. They have a little bit of a sustained advantage as those Gleaming Quills coming out from Wild will keep them healed up, whereas Bang Bus Driver is going to be way more reliant on using that Relic Shield to keep them healthy.
Able to land the winner's fight as Wild goes for another knockup. Pops the Ignite. Viper Fang is trying to get out, runs away. Should be able to outlast that Ignite duration, as we do see both junglers on the top side of the map. Talia having a lot more faster clear, able to get more camps, so it's quite even actually. But in return, Athena's able to get both Scuttle Crabs across the map.
Not something you're super excited about on the side of Bluebird as they go forward, missing the stun.
Yeah, another knockup going through. Bang Bus Driver's looking for something. Gets a stun off on Wild. Concussive blows. Has to wear off. Pops the heal from Viper Fang, and they should be able to make their getaway. Lots of summoners being burnt here. 3 summoner trade for 2 on the side. Actually, it's an even summoner trade going through.
Well, the Ignite earlier from Wild means it is a slight advantage coming out for the side of Bluebird. They will have opportunity to find and engage a little bit later on, but everybody coming so low, there's no summoners left. Dalzanar fighting a 1v1.
Yeah, support walks away, not there to help him out. Bang Bus Driver has to really stick together with this Jinx as Viper Fang. Maybe looking concussive blows, might be able to go through on Rakan as Alex Dalzanar's looking for no mana on this Kai'Sa, but that's irrelevant. Pops the passive as Dalzanar's looking for more. This looks like an easy double kill. Pops the stun, one more auto, and that's a double kill early on in favor of Bluebird.
Not throwing out the auto attacks means that Dalzanar not getting stunned up. They could have turned that one around, but a little bit unconfident in their ability to take the fight means that it goes even worse than it should have otherwise. But Nunefan looking for Teko finds a stun.
Yeah, gets the stun on top of Teko 8. Flash, body slam, nicely done. Ignite should be able to pick up the kill for themselves as Teko 8 able to survive with his E shield going through. Oriana's going to be able to walk out just fine as the bullies maybe trying to walk away. Mundo does as he pleases here. Does not want to get thrown rocks at himself.
And the bully with a huge CS advantage over the Alawi. This is supposed to be a pretty good matchup for the Tentacle Lady as she moves around, but she hasn't been able to find much of anything. Actually had to go back earlier and buy a longsword, getting forced out. Now 10 CS down. They are landing the E, the Test of Spirit, and the bully needs to walk out of range of this. Does he do so? He does respond to it correctly. The Shanghai will eventually find a lead in this, I have to imagine, unless the bully is willing to just continue moving forward and just trading his health to find CS advantages. And that might be the most effective way to play this, as it looks like he's going to instead be backing away, find himself either a Bramble Vest or a Cinder Hulk, or to keep himself happy in this lane. But no, he's going for a Spectre's Cowl. Interesting. Shanghai doesn't actually do a whole lot of magic damage.
Maybe try to compensate the poke with the Spectral Cowl passive. I'm not too sure. Maybe for the Talia ganks, as we see, Bang Bus Driver gets knocked up as the fight in mid lane commences. Direct the camera always shows us what's most important here, as nothing really happens out of both of those trades.
As it does, Avalon down here in the bottom lane as well, potentially looking for a gank. Has several camps that he wants to be farming instead, and with this push coming out on the side of Bluebird, oh, they're going for it.
Yeah, Viper gets knocked up while getting a lot of these Rakan knockups, as Arcam's looking for something. Not able to get much out of it. No knockup means a lot of the gank pressure from Talia is negated.
They were lucky that Athena, D-tier's Gragas, was a bit far away and wasn't able to turn that around. Wild was so far forward from the rest of his team that if D-tier had been in the perfect position, they could have turned that around pretty easily. Luckily, they are going to be getting out of that, but farm still even between these two teams, going for it again.
Yeah, Rakan not level 6 here, pops the Ignite on to Viper once again. Bang Bus Driver should be able to keep his 80 carry alive, blocks the Void Assault. It should be doing just fine, and we see a pause going through.
We see the aggression coming out from Wild and Dalzinar, helping them out quite a bit, always landing damage onto Viper Fang and forcing him out of the lane over and over and over again. The sustained advantage coming out from Dalzinar and Wild between the Fleet Footwork and the Gleaming Quill, keeping them nice and healthy. And Bang Bus Driver not necessarily reacting properly either. One of the things that we've seen the Bluebird team do very effectively is whenever Bang Bus Driver is a little bit separated from Viper Fang, Wild jumps in and it forces a very awkward situation onto their opponents. Viper Fang trying to get some damage down where Bang Bus Driver unsure if he's in a position where he can all in or if he just needs to support his AD carry and back on up.
Yeah, nicely done from the bot lane of Bluebirds, able to prioritize on that, as you said. In return, allows them to have so much pressure, but Viper Fang's still able to keep up in CS, but the aggression is still up, and it allows for Arkham to maybe look for a really good Talia gank if they keep on aggressing against Viper Fang's Jinx.
As we get back into the game, we'll see if they are able to bring it around. Ultimate's starting to come out. Bully takes a bit of extra damage. He might actually be able to go toe-to-toe with his opponent at this point in the game, even with the Spectre's Cowl as opposed to the Bramble Vest or the Cinder Hulk. Simply because Shanghai not sitting on as much gold in terms of items, but the Infernal Drake is going to be coming down. Test of Spirit misses, and this is going to be going over to Bluebird. They're finding another advantage. Shanghai, I don't know if that's where you want to be. You just used your E. You don't have as much damage as you think you do.
Yeah, Shanghai has to be careful. We're going to go ahead and have this mini wave shove up towards the Bully. Should be fine. He has Mundo, has the cleavers to kind of farm under turrets. As he's going to miss a couple of these, able to get one. There we go.
Ooh, stun lens in the mid lane.
Oh, Nunafan looks for something, does not want to throw out the ultimate. Didn't want to commit. Did have Ignite, but was low on mana. So just going to keep on shoving the wave, but it's Orianna. Orianna has pretty good wave clear throughout the game.
We're seeing a pretty different story coming out from the mid lane than what we've seen before. Now that Nunafan is on an aggressive carry, Athena might be getting caught out.
Yeah, Athena in a bad spot. Shanghai just trying to dish out some damage, but teammates are a little bit too far to react to that. As
force his flash. Go in there. Get him out of that pit. Force him.
Athena's like, wait, we can do something.
There you
okay,
go.
There we go. Whoa, we got a 5-minute cooldown. So that was pretty good for Anarchy there.
Yeah, that's what you need to do. You see that he's in an awkward spot. He can't walk out. He's looking to recall. Just such a low investment kind of play. Just walk forward, force him to flash over the wall, because even though Orianna and Talia can both throw things back, they can't continue the fight unless they want to flash over to follow your team. And with D-Tier's ultimate, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, the trap's coming out, not quite going to connect on Wild. Able to get some return damage, not so much, but Wild keeps on getting these aggressive knockups from Rakan. With Rakan here, might be able to look for something eventually, has his ultimate available, just has to look for the right time to execute it.
I'd like to see our Avalon come down here and make sure that it's successful. He is here, he has the Weaver's Wall available, looking for an opportunity to throw it out, and then they'll be able to blow people up. There goes the wall.
Yeah, oh! The Glacial Fissure does go through Wild, taking a lot of damage. Her shot not enough there. Jinx ultimate, Super Mega Death Rocket not able to do much there, but they were able to survive the gank at the expense of their flashes.
Interesting Unbreakable coming out from Bang Bus Driver. I know he was going for trying to block the wall, but not in a position to do so. Ends up taking way more damage because he didn't have his shield in front of him. But as it is, they're still going to be happy with that situation anyway. Find a couple of flashes for themselves at only the cost of a couple of relatively low cooldown ultimates. But look at how little damage Shanghai is actually doing. He doesn't have the Executioner's Calling, and that just means that the Bully is going to heal up so much. Uh-oh, Gragas is here. They should know. He did step over a ward on his way over to this bush.
Yeah, they are aware of Athena's whereabouts. Safely assumed by the way Viper's playing that Athena is probably inside that bush there, so they're going to go ahead and hug their turret. In terms of the Bully in this lane against Alawi, I think the Spectral Cow is kind of doing some really good work here, able to regenerate the poke damage from Alawi. Oh, we do see Irelia here, but they are going to turn around on Shanghai, who TP in the backline, gets a 4-man ultimate going through, able to get himself a double kill as Nuna fan is able to get one return kill on Wild here. Might be able to get taken down here as a double kill goes over to the Kai'Sa. This Kai'Sa's 4-0 already.
That's not what was supposed to happen. D tier throwing out the ultimate, not actually getting much of anything. It ends up leaving Shanghai in a perfect position to get a 4-man ult, and we saw how much damage the tentacles were able to do when you have so many of them crashing down onto a single target. And they're going to be picking up the first turret and exploding to a 2,500 gold lead. They already have the Infernal Drake, and now with a composition that's going to be scaling through the mid game and trying to get past it, they should be in a fantastic position to continue pushing up through the game. I'd like to see Dalzinor and Wild move into the top half of the map, take down the top lane turret, and also provide the strong side in order to hit the Rift Herald and continue the snowball.
Yeah, not sure why the boy kind of recalled during the whole dive process was going through. Should have just stuck top lane, try to get some damage out on that top lane turret, but he's just going to settle with roaming here as Nuna fans looking for some trades against Techo 8. Might be able to get the kill on Wild. Wild's going to be able to get the knock-up up, but his lane AD carry is here. Dalzinor is looking for more damage, trying to proc the passive, but those cleavers are doing a bit of damage to Wild.
We see that he's already got the completed Spirit's Visage, so he'll be healing up A-OK throughout all of that fighting. So many members of Anarchy are already up here as well, trying to make sure that there's no dive potential. But this means that Jinx is going to be left alone against Shanghai's Alawi. That's not a position you want to be. They have their flash coming up in just a moment, and that's going to be a big opportunity for Shanghai's Alawi to really push things forward.
Yeah, with this Alawi having such a good start of the game here, especially with that bot lane TP, it's in a really good spot. Expecting Shanghai to try to take control of the side waves here as we see the flash body slam from Athena.
Almost.
The explosive cast almost lands with a nicely timed flash from Techo 8. Secures his escape.
I like the idea from D tier, but it wasn't quite executed properly. And now, with the bully getting chunked out and Viper Fang giving up the bot lane, they're going to be losing a lot of map pressure. The bully having to use his ultimate, and Viper Fang's not even here yet. Shanghai is free to hit the bot lane turret.
Yeah, Shanghai's going to get a lot of damage. Looking for the body slam, not quite enough range, no flash either, but a beautiful Rakan ultimate gets all of them charmed up as the bully still takes out Wild as Dalzinor picks up the kill. There's a really, between a rock and a hard place between Bank Bus Driver and Viper and the bully. This is a huge turnaround for Anarchy. They're getting the shutdown gold onto Viper Fang, but meanwhile, Alawi's still on the bottom tier turret.
This is an interesting trade of objectives. The gold lead is starting to turn back around a little bit for Anarchy. They're getting some good damage down, but they're losing the second bot lane turret. We've seen so many different strong top laners able to use the pressure created by losing the second bot lane in order to provide pressure, make sure that they can threaten to end the game while their team dances around the Baron. But Shanghai just going to be soloing out this Infernal Drake. Nunafan smells that something's wrong, but so many members are already coming around.
Yeah, at this point, this is secured objectives for Blue Birds here. Maybe Nunafan can do something, but Wild gets a knock-up over the wall. Rally ultimate goes through. This is huge, zoning him off here as Nunafan does go down. The Ignite is ticking down. Shanghai should be able to survive, able to take the honey plant. This should be A-okay, but that was a really close one, unfortunately. Nunafan was by himself. He was attempting to fight, but his teammates were a little bit too late to respond as Wild almost getting taken down. Explosive cast not doing enough damage. The shield from Orianna and Summon Ahri able to keep Wild alive.
The synergy coming out from the side of Bluebird is helping them out so much. Uh-oh, Avalon. Goodbye.
Yeah, you don't want to be there, Avalon.
Alright, I was just about to praise them. They were always on the same page. That flash over the wall from Shanghai looking pretty crazy to me, but if everybody's on the same page saying, hey, we're going over, doing the same dumb thing as a team is usually better than doing 5 different good things when everybody is split up, and that's really what's coming out. Wild is so trusted by everybody else that he says, hey, we're going, and everyone's like, okay, and then they just hop over the wall ready to help him out.
A lot of synergy being displayed here from Blue Birds as Wild is looking for something. Athena is able to hear with Bank Bus Driver. Shanghai is also within the vicinity, able to return some damage, but they're focusing maybe on this mid lane turret, shoving the waves, and they need to get something done here. They have Nunafan and the Bullet on the side waves. The Bully's top lane turret is still up, but at this point, it's only a matter of time before Shanghai just takes.
You have to imagine he's going to look pretty grim in a moment, but Bangus Driver looking for Wild, lands the Q.
Does land a kill, but Wild able to get the Rakan going through. Viper Fang forwards the pop heal as Bangless Driver has to flash out of here, but Weaver's Wall going downtown is able to block them away and forces them to take a very weird route. Splits up the support and 80k as Dalzinar is able to get the kill on Viper Fang. And this is really good. Able to pick off Viper Fang allows them to outgress on this mid lane turret of Anarchy.
They're looking for an opportunity to fight once again, but items are starting to come out for everybody in the game. Black Cleaver is done on Shanghai. We see that Azonia's is actually a first item completed by Techo 8. Very respectful of Nunafan on the Irelia, but this means that they aren't going to have as much mana to play with. Instead, they're going to be reliant on just the burst combo, finding a single target, but Dalzinar dodging away from all of the abilities coming out from their opponents. They're waiting for a potential Gragas barrel, but it doesn't look like their opponents are going to give them an opportunity to find it.
Yeah, Dalzinar is actually sitting on a lot of gold, around 1.6k, should be going back, maybe picking up something at least with that recurve bow. Might have enough for Gunsu's Rage Blade, but they're just going to try to siege under this mid lane turret, but unfortunately Viper Fang and Irelia don't have much of a problem able to wave clear those minions.
It is a little dangerous for your Nunafan to do that, but Viper Fang, with the long-range auto attacks and the Storm Razor completed, should be able to clear that out relatively consistently. There's not a whole lot of long range coming out from their opponents. Avalon and Techo actually have a longer attack range than Dalzinar, and that's a little spooky, but they're catching people out. Teleport from Shanghai?
Yeah, getting the ultimate on Wildbird means they're trying to take out Rakan as Avalon's in a bad spot. Bangless Driver trying to keep the damage out, but Athena goes down in the fight. It's only a 1-for-4. And this is really good. A 1-for-3 actually, as the boys looking to try to keep this mid lane turret alive, but with 3 members down, I think Bluebird might have the numbers advantage to maybe look to take this.
And Avalon was so low throughout that fight, but they weren't able to get the last chunk of damage. They instead turned around and said, we can't do this, and ended up going down for free. And now that this mid lane turret is going to go down, the map is so open for their opponents. Bluebird should be able to run around wherever they want, and the first thing they want to do is pick up the Rift Herald so that they can continue opening up the map.
Yeah, it seems like a really good game plan for them there, but they have so much vision. They realize that Nunafan and the Bullies trying to keep them off the Rift Herald here, as we do see Avalon is making his way down this
They can still
river.
do this.
They can still do. Yeah, they do have the numbers advantage. Viper Fang's still mid lane, and there's no smite as we see a pause go through.
Well, as it looks like they are going to be backing away, they don't feel confident they'll be able to do it safely before the Baron's going to be spawning. The Rift Herald will despawn at 1950 if untouched, and that's not a whole lot of time when your opponents are trying everything they can to prevent you from hitting that. They want to go back and spend. They see that there's nearly 3,000 gold on Dalzinar, 2805. Definitely going to have enough gold for the Ginsu's Rage Blade, and potentially even start building towards the Ruinous Hurricane as his next item. The one thing that they are going to have to worry about, though, is killing this Mundo. Mundo still has no grievous wounds that he needs to deal with, and as he is level 11, his ultimate going to be healing him for so much more than it has in the past. I'm excited to see how they actually are able to bring things through, because they are starting to get into the point of the game where their opponents do have power spikes to play with. Jinx will be hitting their Ruinous Hurricane relatively soon. Mundo already a completed item, level 11, and now Nunafan with the completed Trinity Force is spiking. Right as we said, Orianna is falling into that trough.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, but the way these team fights are going through, it seems like Anarchy just splits themselves up, and it allows for Bluebird to coordinate themselves while starting these fights off, has the initiation, and if they're able to split them up, then the Bullions not able to peel and be the front line that Anarchy needs for this Jinx.
The bully hasn't been in most of these fights, though, in the teleport bot lane that skyrocketed Shanghai to 2-0 and 2. the bully didn't have teleport. He wasn't able to join. In that last fight, Shanghai teleported out of base in order to get towards the back line, but the bully ran from top lane, and by the time he got there, the fight was already over. The synergy coming out from Bluebird once again showing up big, allowing them to play as a team in a way that Anarchy simply has not been showing us today. In their one win, they were able to just do almost whatever they wanted, and they weren't always the best plays, but because they had such a large gold lead, they kept working out. Now that they don't have the gold lead, this relative lack of coordination is starting to hurt them up against Bluebird.
It goes to show in the performance. This is game 3. A lot of high stakes for both of these teams. They have to just try to find a way to secure the win. Bluebirds kind of sees the win secured in the horizons, while it's a steep hill for Anarchy. As we are going to unpausing soon. I hope
Hopefully.
so. Hopefully. If
It
not, we'll
is
just
a lot
chat.
of technical difficulties, and as we say that, we are going to be loading right on back to the Rift. Lots of gold to be spent on the side of Bluebird, but they are actually sticking around. Are they going to commit for this Rift Herald? Not sure it's the wisest decision, as they are losing a lot of tempo in the mid lane. They want to make sure that that turret still stands so that they have control of where everybody goes on the map.
Yeah, this mid turret is essential for both teams, since if it's broken down for Anarchy, it allows them to rotate and move around, gives them some breathing room, while if Bluebird's able to maintain this mid turret for themselves, then they just have so much dominant control across the map.
We'll see how they are able to play with the next dragon spawning in 40 seconds. There's already 2 Infernals underneath the belt of Bluebird, and another mountain would make their Baron incredibly fast. They already do it so speedily with Avalon's Talia and Dalzanor's Kaisa. But having extra stats always helps. Every time you pick one of those up, it carves a second off, and Wild looks for another engage.
Yeah, Viper Fang getting caught out, Wild looking for the charm. Viper Fang really has to run from his own team, gets split off, as nothing's being compensated for the loss of Viper Fang. Avalon doing some work, as they are going to be able to run it down mid with their waves, as they do have enough vision secured around Baron. They have Shanghai running towards them, and they could be looking for more.
And you have to think about what the comms sound like on the side of Anarchy. I don't know these players very well, but I have to imagine at least somebody gone quiet. That tends to be what happens when you get really far behind. If your shot caller stops shot calling, you don't have much left to do. You just kind of run around hoping that somebody makes a good play, but Shanghai able to zone away multiple members all by himself. The Jinx Rocket hitting Wild, not going to be doing much of anything. And now, with 5 members strong, they have the double Infernal, they have the Mountain. They can hit the Baron if they want to. They don't need to commit to it. They just need to get their opponents to come on over and see what's up.
Yeah, Kaisa with the Mountain Drake is huge for Bluebird here. If they do decide to look to take the Baron or even just contest it, as you said, to try to bait out a fight. They want these fights to go online for this Kaisa and just try to end the game eventually.
We'll see if they're able to do that. It looks like Arkham is going to be building towards either the Rylai's Crystal Scepter as he went before, or the Merlinomicon, which would be my personal choice considering you're going up against so much sustain coming out from the Mundo and the Gragas. Cutting that down would be so helpful. There's still no grievous wounds on any single member of the side of Bluebird.
It has to be careful. Bluebird just trying to look to siege. They're not managing too much of their side waves of bot side. Shanghai's just kind of just zoning out members of Anarchy, and Anarchy's just starving themselves with gold from the jungle and from the waves.
Yeah, they're not getting a whole lot of anything. Everything's getting taken away from them. But Shanghai slowly running out of mana. Doesn't have the Glacial Shard to play with. I thought I heard the Weaver's Wall, but mine eyes and ears deceive me. Instead, they're just going to be looking to take away everything they can from D tier, forcing him to smite away the blue buff and denying vision. And they're going towards the top half of the map, but they're not clearing out any of the vision in the top half of the river, so the Baron would be very dangerous for them to commit to.
Yeah, Baron's very dangerous. Shanghai looking to catch out Viper. Viper has a flash and heal away as the ultimate goes through, getting some really huge life, so able to stay alive as Dalzanar gets the kill. Not enough damage, able to take out Shanghai as the fight continues. The boys popping the ultimate, not able to zone them off. A nice Irelia ultimate catches out Wild. Not enough stuns going through as the bully is able to pick up the kill on Wild. Return kill from Dalsnar takes out Nunafan. Dalsnar is looking for more. Nice shockwave, catches out Bankbus Driver, but he puts the shield up and is able to stay alive.
And throughout all of that, the Shanghai actually lived, keeping himself alive throughout all of that, having just enough healing. That was huge. They zoned out Viper Fang at the very beginning of the fight. He got enough healing and enough disengage that it allowed Dalzinar to come out. Teko 8 finally with the ultimate, catches Bang Bus Driver, not enough to actually bring him down, but still finding another mid turret. The teleport's coming up from Shanghai in just a moment, and as they clear out the vision in the top half of the river, the Baron really becomes a serious threat their opponents are going to have to deal with.
That's very unfortunate here as they are trying to maybe keep themselves up. Baron's still up. I think at this point in the game, whoever picks up Baron should be able to finish up the game. In terms of Anarchy, if they do get Baron, they have the chance to reestablish themselves, but if they allow Bluebird to pick up Baron, this game could be well over for them.
They won't have a whole lot to say about it overall. As long as Bluebird plays it smart, if they can get vision down and prevent their opponents from coming in freely, if they can force their opponents to face check, this Baron should be relatively easy for them to pick up. They do it very quickly, and just as you said, if they are able to find the buff, they should be able to end the game relatively cleanly afterwards. As we take a look at the vision scores down across the team, we are seeing a pretty significant difference actually only coming in the top lane. Shanghai with 34 to only the 19 from the bully. He's able to get wards down to protect his split push, and now that his teleport is up, he will be able to provide pressure down on the bot lane, and this is what we're talking about. Very strong junglers, excuse me, very strong top laners able to provide pressure for their team, threaten to take the bottom lane inhibitor while everybody else dances around the Baron.
Yeah, it's kind of just a tango between who times their backs correctly, who's able to come back into the field with power spikes, and it's really just managing up to the waves here. Not much is going to be going on, as you said. It's really just dancing around Baron.
We'll see if they are going to be committing to it. They've gotten a little bit of vision control, but there are some crucial spots that they haven't yet swept. And with the blue trinket still available for Viper Fang, that was the wrong direction to knock Mundo, but it's a-okay. It still sends a message.
Yeah, tons of message says, that was a warning shot. We could have taken out your tank, and you guys are nothing without the bully.
Shanghai getting caught out just a little bit, but it's difficult to push through an Alawi. He's going to look for an ult here in a moment, gets knocked away.
Explosive cast takes out Shanghai from the fight. Baron is low.
Bully stole it!
Bully stole the Baron! He stole the Baron! As this is a huge fight. Doesn't matter, the bully is looking like he's going to be the last member alive. And they're just wiping the floor. It's just Viper Fang and Bankless Driver left alive.
The bully just walks up and headbutts the Baron and finds the steal. Arkham Avalon still had his smite available throughout all of that, so a big miss. But Shanghai also providing so much pressure on the rest of the map. We saw that he found a 1v2, killing both Athena on the Gragas and Nunafan on the Irelia. But the rest of his team is still strong enough. They're going underneath the turret.
They're looking to try to end the game, maybe get the ace. Dalsnar's doing so much damage. And that's a clean ace. No more Baron buffs at all available side of Anarchy. This Kai's is doing so much damage, shredding through these structures.
This is a little bit risky. Sticking around is not what they want to do, but teleport from Shanghai.
Yeah, Shanghai's TPing behind. He's looking for the flank. Maybe doesn't have the ultimate quite back up for a Lowy here. Leap of Faith still on cooldown, so they have to play around that, but putting enough of pressure so that Anarchy has to back away.
Yeah, go hit the dragon, guys. This is going to be difficult for you guys to take safely. You'll lose several members, and those shutdowns will help out your opponents quite a bit. Picking up the dragon, resetting, cleaning up your bot lane minion wave is going to be something that's going to help out quite a bit. Get that gold onto a priority target. We see that once again, Dalzinar, who's going to be rewarded with all of these minions, is going to have the opportunity to back away with over 2,500 gold and nearly another completed item. He's got 3 completed items to his opponent's 2.5, and now that he's going to finish up another half an item, 3/4, it's going to put Viper Fang in a very, very dangerous position.
Yeah, Viper Fang, really just the shining hope left for Anarchy. but he's not able to compete with Dalsinor. Dalsinor, like you said, has the huge item lead and already finishes up the Guardian Angel. So with GA up, it really just puts so much control over to Bluebird.
Shanghai going with the ultimate.
And not getting much out of it, able to zone him off from that map as well. Gets the 3-man Rakan ultimate. Nothing much getting gained here as Noonfan gets the stun. Wildbird's in a bad spot. Glacier Push not going to connect as Vanquish Driver is taking a lot of damage. Dalsmar's looking for something. Heck, Killer Instinct is up. He's not actually going to commit for his team's too far back. Not enough initiation, but they are going to be able to poke out Anarchy away from this minion wave.
It's a bit of a sloppy fight, but overall it goes in favor of Bluebird. Shanghai and Wild able to keep themselves safe for long enough that the cavalry had arrived, and it just meant that their opponents had to run away. They weren't able to find a kill onto either of the members. They weren't able to create a man advantage, and now as Avalon clears out the vision in the top half of the map, they should be able to pick up at least this top lane turret, while Kaisa in the bot lane should be able to pressure the bot lane inhibitor as well.
Yeah, they have to send multiple members over to deal with Shanghai. Meanwhile, they had to send the bully by himself as Noonfan looks for the ultimate, connects, but forces the flash of. Meanwhile, bully is stuck bot lane, having to protect his turret away, but Dalsnar just gets so much free damage. Double Mountain Drake's doing a lot of work for this Kaisa.
Look at the bully though.
Yeah, bully gets the kill, able to take out Wild, but the GA does go off. Dalsmar's should be able going down here, not able to do enough damage, and yeah, that's a shutdown gold with a huge member going down. This gives some breathing room for Anarchy, but still Shanghai is relentless. Bluebird is still looking for these objectives. Explosive Cast is not doing much other than wave clearing those caster minions, but Shanghai should be able to pick up this top lane inhibitor turret.
Look at the damage they're able to do with the double Infernal, double Mounted. They just blow through that without any minions, and now they're getting some damage down onto the Gragas as well. Will they be able to pick up a single inhibitor? No. Despite the fact that they've gotten every single inhibitor turret, they haven't picked up an inhibitor yet. One auto attack is all it takes. Teko able to find it, and now they're going to continue moving around. They have minion waves to play with, but they're still down 2 members. Wild just now coming out of base, but they finally reward themselves with the top lane and the mid lane inhibitor. Bit of a wild shockwave, but you know, it hits.
Yeah, it does hit, able to zone him up, I guess you could say. And this allows for Bluebird to comfortably recall. Kaisa's back up, Dalsnar's back, has BF sword, so more boost in damage, and they're ready to maybe close out this game soon.
At this point, they just need to bring all 5 members to the bottom lane, get that last inhibitor, and wait for the double supers to come in. And Bluebird is in a position where it's almost impossible for them to lose. They'll have to make at least 3 catastrophic mistakes in a row for Anarchy to really come back into this game. They need to throw a fight in their opponent's base, which will allow their opponents to get Baron, and then they'll need to lose at least 2 more fights for all of these turrets to go down. They're not able to find the damage onto the targets that they want as the QSS comes out for the side of Viper Fang. I'm actually a little bit surprised. There's only one thing in the entire game that QSS will help him, will save him from, and that's the quickness coming out from Wild. Everything else doesn't help you.
Yeah, I'm not too sure why you'd go for the QSS. Maybe does it affect the tether from Alawi?
I don't think so, and even if it does, it's not worth QSSing because you're going to be able to walk out of it anyway. But Shanghai is down here. It looks like everybody on Bluebird has figured it out. They need to be in this bottom lane together. Then now they just have to see if they're willing to follow their fearless leader Rakan. They find a Test of Spirit onto Gragas, take about 1/3 of his health away. And now they just need to calmly play this, wait for supers to come in the other lanes, take down this inhibitor, and then the game should be nigh unthrowable.
Yeah, at this point they have the inhibitor crack. A huge team fight in favor. Shockwave is huge. Aurelia ultimate goes through, able to wave clear, but the Kai's damage is still going through, able to get the ace, and that's going to be the end of game 3. This Kai's doing so much worse. Dalsnar just shreds through the whole team of Anarchy.
They kind of just stat checked their opponents there at the very end. They said, we don't need to wait for their super. we're just going to fight, and the fact that we're 10,000 gold ahead is going to give us the win anyway. Overall, 2-1 reverse sweep coming up from Bluebird after getting destroyed in game one. They counter-destroyed their opponents, and after a much cleaner game than anything else we've seen earlier today, they are able to bring it home off of the back of an incredible performance from Dalzanor.
And nicely done. Good job, GG to team Bluebird here. Also, nice effort from Anarchy. Nicely done, a 2-1 going over to Bluebirds. But honestly, that was a lot of work done from Dalzanor.
Dalzanor, and we haven't mentioned him in the post game, but while doing so much work, they showed so much trust in their support to get a fight started, and then everybody would follow. And just the coordination that this team was able to bring was just what they needed to do in order to bring themselves back from what was had to have been a demoralizing defeat in game one. But as it stands, Bluebird finding themselves another win in week 4, taking it 2-1 over Anarchy. And I'm excited to see what this team is able to bring to the rest of the season.
Yeah, nicely done. Thank you, folks, for sticking by with us for this incredible series brought to you by ODL Gold League. It is I, once again, Matsuda, here joined with Joshi. Any last words?
Well, thank you everyone for watching. It's been a pleasure, and don't forget to tune in next week for our continuation of the coverage of the Overdrive League. It's going to be a great time. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.